Recorded. Hello, everybody. We're here. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
Cedric Slappy Carthurn. Everybody call me Slappy. So, guess you hear him call me Slappy. That's me.
How you did the nickname Slappy?
Man, that's if I get $1 for every time someone asks me that, I'd be rich. I wouldn't be working. It kind of happened back in the day, man. We used to do something called slap boxing back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just one day, man, it got a lot of hand and slapped this guy, and it was like, man, we're gonna start calling you Slappy, and it just stuck. From there on, it just stuck. If you would have told me back in '98 that name would stick in 2020, looked you in your eye, like, no way, and it actually stuck.
Yeah, that's super cool. Do you end up like knocking the guy out?
Nah, I just gave him a good, like, it was just a loud, like 2-2 before going on.
Oh, it was
he was my best friend too, man. It just slipped, you know. When you slap boxing back in the day, it get out of hand. So it just ended up happening.
Wait, is it like literal boxing, or is it like you've seen the they have this like slap lead now where you like go back and forth and slap each other? Yeah,
no, we definitely didn't do that. No, it was like boxing, but with slapping instead of full contact, fist to the face. It was just it was the game we played. You put your hands up and then every now and then it'd get out of hand. Someone to get slapped too hard, or someone, you know, and then it turned into a wrestling match.
Yeah.
You know, it turned to get suspended and then all that stuff at school. So
that reminds you of you ever heard of a fight promotion called I think it was Pancrates. I think it was in Japan and in some parts of Europe, but it was only open hand palm strikes, and that's it. Wow. Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of that, but it sounds quite intriguing. I know it's bad. I know Bass Rutten. Bass Rutten used to do a lot of open palm strikes back in the early days.
Yeah,
I don't think that was UFC. I think that was like another
that was the promotion that he did it with. Yeah, he did it. That's where he got famous, doing the whole, you know, where he jumped and did the split.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he would like beat the crap out of people.
Yeah,
the mess out of them, and then be like jumping, splitting up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched the video. He hit some guy like an open palm strike, like in the liver, man. The dude like completely crumbled. Yeah, and I was like, almighty, man. I would hate to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, I would too. And then there's this. You ever heard of combat jiu-jitsu?
I have heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have a training partner. He just won the middleweight title for it.
Really?
Yeah, in Mexico.
Holy cow. Is it closed fist or open palm strikes?
It's open palm strikes.
Oh, wow.
Whew. Yeah. But he was the first person to actually win without like throwing one strike at all.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Must be the real deal.
Yeah, he is.
You know, you're a big, strong guy, man. You ought to do that, man. Give him a good across the face. reset the whole computer upstairs. You know what I mean?
I might do that in the future. You know, I'm trying to dive super into no-gi jiu-jitsu, so I might do that. Yeah,
I'm really, you know, I'm new to the jiu-jitsu game. I've only been doing it, I think 7 or 8 months, somewhere around there, and I like I'm still early, so I really like the gi.
Yeah,
I'm still into the gi a lot, and maybe because you got more of the grab, like the no-gi, hard to like get grips on certain people, man. So it gets kind of complicated now, and it turns into a wrestling match with me. It always seems like with no, which I don't. I like the gi because you could grab, and the stuff you can kind of grab and stuff like that.
Control more. A lot of the times, like if there's no like structure in terms of learning like how to properly grip a no-gi, it turns a lot into like scrambling.
Yeah,
you know, versus a gi is like it can be slowed down, like you said, because of the grips.
Yeah.
And so you'd be like, stop that and grab a hold.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see those like they have like these lapel guards where you wrap people up with their lapel or your lapel too.
Yeah. Yes. Professor Chris actually, I think I was on the receiving end of a few of those from him.
Yeah.
Like good story. I was rolling with Professor Chris, and man, it doesn't matter how much strength it seems like you have with him.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing matters because it feels, he makes it so effortless. It's like magic. I always tell people that ask me, like, what's jiu-jitsu like? I'm like, dude, it's like magic. Because you go with guys that you wouldn't, I mean, I'm not like saying he's a small guy, but I'm a little bigger guy than he is. But when you roll with him, it's like nothing I do works.
Yeah.
I was rolling with him one time, and he untucked my gi and wrapped around my neck some way, somehow. How he did it.
Yeah.
Sitting there still like, just still trying to like, grizzly bear my way out of it. Next thing you know, I'm like, man, it's starting to get dark in here. Starting to like flicker on and off. And I was like, man, getting choked out. He was choking me out with my own gi.
Did he put you to sleep or you tap?
Yeah, I tapped. I tapped probably about a couple seconds before I would have been at night.
Yeah, I feel you.
I couldn't, because it wasn't like a choke, like a arm around the neck. It was something I never experienced before.
Yeah.
Like, wow, man, this was probably the most insane choke I've ever been on the receiving end of getting. And I asked Chris, I was like, Chris, like, how do you know to do stuff like that? And he was like, man, he just smiled, smile and gives you just like, man, I've thousands of hours on the mat, my friend. Yeah. Mats. I was like, yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's a lot of like trial and error, because like, it's really is a science of how to attack the body, systematically without striking them. And like, it's wild how many different ways there are to do that. The more you systematize things, the easier it is to get things on, no matter who the person is in terms of size wise, whether tall, short, big, small, muscular, and everything like that too. Yeah. And that's the benefit of rolling with so many different body types over the years, is you kind of learn what game to play based off of the body type that you're doing.
Yes, yeah. That's what they say. Like, you might roll one way with one guy and based off his body type, and have to roll a different way with another guy based on his body type. Yeah. So it's all different, you know what I mean? So that makes total sense. I remember I tell this joke with a lot of guys, especially guys I work. When I first I think it was my first day of jiu-jitsu, I had the unfortunate pleasure of rolling with you.
Yeah.
And I always tell people,
that was your first day?
That was my first day.
Oh wow.
So I come in there with my little college football wrestling mentality. I've wrestled back in the day and played college ball. So I was like, all right, I'm going to just try to hang on. I'm looking at him like, he looks like a pretty big guy about my size. Let me try him. And I didn't know anything about belts. I didn't realize, okay, now I know what a brown belt is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm staying away from guys like you now. Yeah. So I never forget, man, when you grabbed me, and I've never felt so defenseless as a human being. I never had another human being grab me, and I just felt completely helpless. Yeah. And I don't know what to do. And then, I think I was tapping at one point in time. You didn't have me in the submission. I was tapping, and it was like, it's like I don't even have you in the submission yet. But like I said, man, I was like, wow. And Chris tells me this all the time. Professor Chris tells me, he says, Slappy, you're strong, man. When you get technique, that strength, you're gonna be
beast. Yeah.
A beast, man. And that's what I look for. I look up to guys like you, because I'm like, man, you're strong, and then you got technique with it. Yeah. And I don't know how anybody in the damn school, the class can make you submit, because you're just so strong. Yeah.
I like having that good combination between that and technique, but I like relying on technique a lot, because I know no matter how strong people are or whatnot, not necessarily, but it's like, if people aren't as technical as I am, but as strong as I am, I can still beat them, if I have better technique. And so when it comes to people that beat me now, it's like they not only are strong, like as strong as me, are stronger, but then they also have better technique than me. But then that helps me be able to, like, constantly search out how to be better technical,
Okay. Yeah.
Do
you have things that you work on, like, specifically whenever you roll? Like, is it like days where you might be like, all right, I'm working on leg locks, or I'm working on my back, working from my back, or?
Yeah, I think that's how you get like better. So I think it's good to be able to be well-rounded. And so some days I'll try to be like, hey, at the beginning of practice, okay, I'm going to practice this specifically, Okay. Like earlier today, I try to practice. It's something that I got it from another guy, and I've seen it before, but he's one of the most efficient people I've ever seen it from. This dude named Chase. And I was watching Sean's review of a tournament him and Ryan was doing, and he was waiting until the person got into like a square stance from the standing position, and then he would sit in on them, like basically do a guard pull, but he would do a guard pull straight to like a single AX position, and then transition to an Ashi Arama, right, for a lay lock. So what I was trying to do was work on getting in close to the person, like pulling them in and making them go to a square stance, but then be head forward, so their balance is leaning a lot more forward in. And so then when their balance leans forward in, they're trying to retract and move back, right? And when they retract and move back, then I would sit in and try to come underneath them for like a single AS entry, and then go to like Ashi Arama from there. So that's what I was trying to do today and yesterday. And so like I'll have particular weeks where I'm like, I want to work this particular technique or this particular, like just work in my guard retention, especially when I see like a hole in my game, and then I try to iron that out by working that particular area over and over and over again. They also say in terms of like, especially for beginners, to mostly work like their defense.
Defense,
if you have good defense, nobody can submit you, and then it makes your offense a lot greater, because then you don't have to be worried so much about actually being caught if you're on, your basics for how to defend properly.
Okay, that's the phase I'm in right now. I'm in the defensive. I like to start from my back or sitting on my rear end or whatnot. I like to try defense, especially when I go with guys like Tim Stout, or higher level guys, Chris Ruiz, some of the high level purple belts in the class and stuff like that. I'm not going to submit these guys, but I like to try to just go and survive them. Like, how do I try to prevent them from, getting the choke or the lock or stuff like that? I roll with Mike Wilson, man, and he was another one, man. He was hard I couldn't like get hold of him. I was like, I can't hold him. I was like, I can't hold him. Here I am, 125, 230 pound man, and Mike's probably 130.
He finds those holes.
Nothing I could do. Like, I couldn't hold him, man. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. So I always tell folks, man, jiu-jitsu absolutely works. Jiu-jitsu is power.
Yeah, it really is.
When you get a guys, I'm 7 months in. I come from a athletic background, so I wasn't necessarily a pushover. But Jesus Christ, just 7 months has turned me into another person as far as skill wise. I have more skills added to my database because I like to go 3 or 4 days a week, and just doing that has turned me into another. Like, guys at work, we might go into the mats and DT room and play around, and they don't stand a chance, man. It's like wow, this stuff works, and I'm not having to like. A lot of times, I'm not even being like, I'm not having to sweat, because it's just like they don't understand the technique that come with it. You know what I mean? For what I do, and it makes sense, because that's why I guess when you get a new white belt come in, you might have some white belt players in the classroom like, oh, this white belt, I'm going after them.
They call them like they have like white belt sharks, and they feed on the newer people. They have blue belt sharks too.
Oh, they have blue belt sharks too.
I believe so. I believe we have blue belt sharks, towards like newer people. You know what I mean?
That new guy coming in. Let me go.
Let me show him who's boss.
Man. But it's magic, man. It's power, man, and it's a martial art that I truly have grown from. I wish to God that I would have started this in my 20s or my teens.
What got you to start doing it?
Man, all right. I'm in law enforcement, so I met Tim Stout several years back, and he's always been real big in the community and events and things like that, putting on events and stuff like that. Well, he started a police Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, a free class every Wednesday. I was like, well, hell, I want to learn this, because I want to, it looks ugly when you're pounding on somebody's face on camera. I mean, it doesn't look good when you're having to, strike folks, especially in that day and age we're having the police in right now, because everything's scrutinized. So I was like, well, I want to learn how to control people with this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff. You know what I mean? I would try it. And I went in for a class, and I think John Hick, I did the police class. I was like, okay, this is cool, but I want to do a class with people that's not in law enforcement. I want to guys who, who live, breathe this stuff.
Yeah.
And my first class is when I rode with you, and Doug was in there, and Doug's wife now, and and I was just like, wow, man, these guys right here are freaking good. And I started going to other classes, the 6 a.m. classes, and my first role was with a guy named John Higgins.
Yeah.
He's a blue belt. So I look at the wall, see the structure of the belt, like white, blue, all right, purple. All right, so he's right above white. So it can't be bad.
Bad, yeah.
Oh my God, John Higgins is a rough.
Yeah.
He was
one of those people that been like stuck at a belt for a long time. I heard he was a white belt for way too long, like like over 5 years, and then like he was a blue belt for a second too. And so he just won Nogi Worlds too for his
and I saw like he's the real deal, dude. He's so strong, and I was like, it won't be okay. I guess this won't be too bad. And it's like, oh my God, he's got a wrestling background, like 20 plus years, 20, 30 years of wrestling. Yeah. So it's like
it's a long behind time.
Yeah, it's damn near been wrestling as old as I am, you know what I mean? So Jesus, man. But I started coming, I got the itch. I guess, you know, some guys, I was told, hey man, once you start doing this, you're gonna get that itch, man. You're gonna fall in love with it.
Yeah, it's very addictive.
Yeah, and next thing you know, man, I'm buying gis online and grass guard, and now I'm all about it, and I love it. I talked my wife's head off about it. She probably looks at me like I don't care. Yeah, but I'm like, hey, you gotta listen to this, man. So I got on today, but I learned this from it. Yeah. But you know, also I love that what it's made me. It's made me. It has a camaraderie, a certain brotherhood when you can go in there and you could. It's like fighting without fighting.
Yeah.
You go hard, you train hard. Yeah. Has that heat cranked up, and we're in this sweat, dying together. Yeah. Then afterwards, you know, you extend a hand to one of your brothers, help them up, and fix your gis, you know, tie your belts, and you know, it's like, man, this is that camaraderie and that brotherhood.
Yeah, I think it's very much something that helps in terms of build camaraderie between people, especially when you go through the struggle of helping each other get better. You know what I mean? Like even if you got beat like really quick by somebody, it's still like highlighting to you how far you need to go in order to get better. You know, and that there's levels to it, and it makes you hungry to get to that next level. And the only way you can do that is by accumulating knowledge and putting time on the mat too, as well. Through trial and error, you know, which is I think a very much like a representation of life too. You know, life is a ton of trial and error that you have to be able to get through. And I feel like when you go through something like that, it makes other things a lot easier too.
Absolutely.
The struggle can be like super real. And most of it is like in the head too, though.
Yeah. Like I've had some rough days in there. Now I'm, like I said, now things are starting to kind of make a lot more sense now. You know what I mean? I you know, it doesn't say much, but you know, someone asked me, hey man, you're white. What are you? I'm like, hey, I'm a 2-stripe white belt. Yeah. You know what I mean? To some people, they may be like, oh man, that's nothing. But if you do jiu-jitsu, you're like, hey man, you're learning. Your progression shows that you've been sticking with it. Because I view it as a journey. Yeah. And you know what I mean? That's what I view it as. And you know, you're always drinking that humble Kool-Aid also, man. In humble. I remember it's a little she's probably about my age. Her name's got red hair. Yeah. I think purple belt. Yeah. We rolled, and this is around the time when I first started. We rolled, and like I said, here we go again. I'm a pretty big guy, and she's a smaller female. Yeah. And I pop over, and I'm like, man, I can't do nothing. Yeah. She turtled. Yeah. And let me sit there and try to maul her and stuff, and nothing would work. Yeah. And I just grabbed her on her back, and she like went underneath my leg and grabbed my arm. Yeah. And like, hit at me like I got something like ripped my damn arm. Yeah. And I just looked at it after we got done. I just looked at it. And I was just like, how the hell did you do that? Yeah. Like, how's that possible? How's that humanly for a 120, 130 pound woman to damn near rip? Like if it would have been in a street fight or something, if I was attacking her, she would have ripped my arm off and handed it to me. Yeah. Like don't. So I'm a believer, man. I'm a complete believer, dude. It really does force you to learn body mechanics, you know?
and understand that joints and ligaments, you know, they can be broken by like people way smaller than us if we put it in the wrong situation. Same thing with our throats too. Like there's some people with like just super strong nets, but like when somebody even smaller gets a hold of that net or whatever and able to grab over it, like very good, you don't start going to sleep, especially in the gi too. And you can use those lapels, like don't care how big you are, you know, at all. I want to ask you too. I want to ask you too, how beneficial you think it is in terms of for police officers to learn jiu-jitsu or do jiu-jitsu?
Dude, I'm on the SWAT team also at my department, so I always tell the SWAT. I got one of the guys. He just signed up as well. He's one of my SWAT teammates, and I always tell the guys, I'm like, dude, this right here will take what we already know as far as, you know, we know how to do the high speed, dangerous stuff. We know how to shoot guns, all that stuff. That's cool and everything. But we're not out here, you know, in gunfights every day. But we fight just about once a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard you were in one recently.
Yeah, I was in a huge one at the fairgrounds. It's about a 40, 50 man fight out there.
Damn.
And I had to go out there, and I was able to restrain the guy without having one strike. Yeah. I hit him with I think I was taught it a bow. I guess it's like when you sweep them, a bow. What do you call it?
Like yeah.
Like a bow in there. I view it as a bow, and that's one of my favorite sweeps. Yeah, so I bowed his body and I leg swept him. Yeah. My leg controlled his hand when he went down, and I could have like completely like destroyed his arm. Yeah. But I was behind him, hold it, and got a handcuff on him and everything. A guy that was completely fighting. Yeah. He was not trying to go with me. Yeah. And I did all that without, and everything just came natural. It's like, man, I didn't even have to think about it. Yeah. And I told some of my coworkers, I said, man, you see how I was able to restrain this guy without even trying? Wasn't breathing hard. I didn't panic, because in jiu-jitsu, if you're in a bad position, a lot of times, you know, newer guys, you're going to panic. You're like,
they are. Yeah.
I'm in freak out mode. I'm like, man, he's got around my neck. I'm freaking out. Yeah. And then do it, you start kind of, and I really began to study and do my research on this art. And like Hickson Gracie, I'm really a big fan of Hickson Gracie. Yeah, you know? That's the dude. Get as uncomfortable as you can. Like he said, when he was younger, he'll let his brothers basically like get on top of him and get them in these uncomfortable positions, and he would force himself to like learn how to breathe and relax and freak out. Yeah, and one thing Professor Chris says is jiu-jitsu is about feeling comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Yes. And Professor Chris he has been a huge inspiration in my life, man. I mean, I don't know where he came from in my life, man, but he has been what I've been looking for since I stopped playing college football. Yeah. Him out, but Chris, man, it's something about him. I don't know what it is about him. It's a mystique about him. Yeah. And I look at Chris like I'm a huge Kung Fu movie fan, man. I'm old. Yeah. I was jumping in the air. You know, I grew up on them. Yeah, I understand. I used to love them. I would watch one per week at least. Absolutely. So I view Chris as like that master on top of the mountain. That Kung Fu master. Yeah. Meditate all day, all night. And you walk up to him and you do something disrespectful and he'll twist you up and stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he's also very humble and has so much knowledge and can share so many skills with you. Yeah. Like, man, like this stuff works, man. But as far as it being beneficial for the career, I would, if it were me, I would make it a requirement for all police officers to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Every police officer. Yeah. If I was chief of police or sheriff of my police, I feel you. It would be mandatory. I would at least want you to go at least one time a week. Yeah. At least a week. Yeah, I don't blame. I think one of the essential. So I grew up doing different martial arts. A lot of like Chinese, Filipino-based martial arts. And one thing that I noticed is the major difference between like jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, and a lot of those is the rolling or sparring. You know, it allows you to be able to see what is real and what isn't real, and how to put it into practical application constantly. You know, and I feel like a lot of the issues in terms of the other ones is you don't do sparring, you do technique, and then you do drilling over and over again, but it's not even like
drilling and jiu-jitsu, like positional drilling and jiu-jitsu. You're trying to like work a particular position, like yesterday, where somebody's on mount and somebody bottom mount, and the person on bottom has to try to escape. The person on top tries to hold them out. You know, it's not even like that. It's more so like, oh, hey, we're working, like you're drilling a technique over and over and over again, you know, but you're not putting it in application. Like you're not making it so that you're drilling your body to have that muscle memory and be able to do it in real life, in the full sense of it, you know? And so that's where I feel like the big benefit of jiu-jitsu was that, you know, especially because like, you know, the ground in a lot of ways is an equalizer too.
Absolutely.
And submissions are too as well. And so, like you said, it makes it a lot more easier in order to be able to deal with somebody, you know, restrain them and be able to handle them when, like you said, without having to throw a strike too as well.
Yeah, having to throw a strike, or without having to put yourself in a compromised position where you might hell, jiu-jitsu, you're not even necessarily like having to choke someone out and stuff. You can just restrain them and just hold them till your backup gets there.
Yeah.
And hell, you know, hell, I got you. You're not going anywhere. Hell, you damn near talk to him. Like I was talking to the guy the other day. You know, when I had his arm, I was like, calm down, calm down. You know, I mean, and he could feel that his arm was a little pressure on his arm, and if I pulled it, probably would have broke his arm. But still, just having that control and just that calmness over a situation.
Oh, my bad.
No,
no, I accidentally made a chair drop beside me. I was looking at it too. I was like, "Oh snap, that's about to fall." How would you say how you say it currently is in terms of being like a police officer in like today's time, especially dealing with things going on with the COVID dynamics?
Yeah, it's been a very, very difficult time, and I speak for a lot of police officers that are out there right now. It's been very difficult because a lot of us, man, we're normal dudes, man. We have a job to do. We do our job, and a lot of us, we come home to our families. I got a wife, 2 kids. Come home to my wife and kids, and I'm dad. You know, and a lot of us, you know, were scrutinized and stuff for some of the actions of some others out there.
Yeah.
Like hell, I've never hurt anyone, you know, or wronged done anyone, and we got put into like this category with a lot of others. You know what I mean? So it was very difficult, and then we got the double-edged sword of it because we got COVID and the George Floyd situation happening all the time. So COVID hit, and then that hit, and it was just rough, man. Yeah, I'm on the SWAT team. I still am. So, you know, we worked a lot of protests and stuff, man. It got really, really rough, man. And it's starting to kind of calm down now. You know, things are going back to normal. It's always a storm. Yeah, you got to ride that storm, and after that storm kind of passes, you wait for the next storm, unfortunately. We're in a phase where like, okay, things are starting to calm down. And then you're going to go into another storm phase. So being prepared mentally, physically, you know, I've always been about the gym life. I'm always about lifting weights and keeping my body in shape. But since I began to take this, you know, this art, jiu-jitsu, real serious, it's like, man, this right here is everything you need. It's physical. You spar. I call it sparring. Forgive me if that's the wrong term.
No, I have basically sparring. They call it official. They call it rolling. You know, rolling around and crap. You know.
Yeah, man. And it's like, hell, what other martial art? Even if you boxed, let's say you boxing, when you spar in boxing, you're striking in the head. You can still get knocked out. You know, stuff like that. You might not go 100%. I've had some roles where we're in there freaking dying. We're in there really trying to like get after it. And you know, you talk about 5-minute rounds, and you don't know how many rounds you're gonna do. It gets taxing on the body, man. But it also makes you better. It takes vascular your cardio to another level.
Yeah, I think one of the major differences though is like you can sustain injuries with jiu-jitsu, but I think the highlight is it's very unlikely for you to get like a concussion in jiu-jitsu unless you go with somebody who's like a crazy wrestler who might slam you on the mat. You know, but more likely if somebody's a very wrestler, they know how to control the situation. You know, and they're not going to try to slam your head into the mat, you know, or somebody tries to pit somebody up inside of a triangle, when they're in a triangle and trying to slam somebody like you don't really do that in practice. So like I think one of the biggest issues with like other sparring combat sports is concussions and sustaining secondary concussions, but in jiu-jitsu you don't really have that problem. You may go to sleep, but you're not having like a long-term effects of a concussion, and so because of that it allows you to be able to train more.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're allowed to push yourself without having to worry about those brain injuries. I know I've had some mornings, man, when I like to get after it, man. I like to truly push myself and see where I'm at. And I look at each guy who I go with. I love going with the higher belts because it's a smoother roll with the higher belts than when you go with white belt. Yeah. I feel like I can control a lot of white belts who I go with. Mm-hmm. So I like to try to go with guys who like the blue belts and the purple belts. And we don't have any browns in our class, but the black belt, because when you go to black belts, it's completely smooth. It's like it's a roll. It's like, okay, you're flowing.
Yeah.
Flowing.
It's the higher you go up in a level, the more people like to flow a lot more, especially in practice too, because it allows you to work more things. Like a lot of times when you're like straining your muscles and everything like that and tightening them up, or you're looking more so for the win versus like to fulfill a particular technique that you're working, everything gets a lot more smooth and things open up, because you're in your lab, to discover, and like after a certain like belt level, you have to like we said before, that knowledge base really is key versus just who's like the stronger and faster person.
I've quickly learned that strength does not really, I mean, at least from what I see, strength doesn't really so much matter so much in jiu-jitsu. It may play a part when you get to a higher level and of course you're like Cyborg or something, or
but I don't know, they have a lot of those bigger dudes where the strength does a factor. A lot of their matches should be boring too, though. Like me, I'm a very big person. I love watching like jiu-jitsu matches and I love studying matches and everything like that. But like people like a lot of his matches are very boring. But you heard of what's been going on with him lately?
What happened to him lately?
Well, it's not him directly, but one of the guys at Fight Sports down there, like one of their instructors, got caught. He's like under fire for like I think it's what do you call it? Sexual harassment of like a teenage girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So now I think he's under fire for like him, like Cyborg knowing about it and not doing anything about it.
Really?
I think that's the situation.
That's
but
man. That's like detrimental to your reputation and everything as far as clients and stuff too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, especially, and I think especially since jiu-jitsu is so like close quarter, and it's so touchy and everything like that. I feel like you have to make sure that you're drawing that line, and saying this is what we do and don't do. To make it to be about what it's supposed to be about and make it not start to trend into something negative, especially for women too, as well.
Yeah. And you don't want to make, I don't want to make women uncomfortable. I always try to be real easy with the women who I roll with, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sure you've rolled with women who are really good.
Yeah.
But some of their lower level girls, women who you might come in and roll with, like, okay, well, I'm not going to try to smash I'm real careful with them as far as getting on mount and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always try to be as respectful as possible also.
Yeah. I think it's putting for some guys, especially more so younger guys, it's putting being a very good teammate over your EO. Especially absolutely. Like if you're rolling with a higher belt woman, you want to be chill and don't start getting all weird and like fidgety and crazy or like spazzy when rolling with a higher belt woman that like is beating you, because then you revert to like muscle and all that type of stuff and you start hurting somebody. It's like you see red. And I've heard like that situation from several like higher belt girls where it's like they roll with a lower belt guy and the lower belt guy is losing and then they go crazy, They
go into attack mode.
Like,
I'm not gonna let them choke you out.
They forgot they're doing jiu-jitsu.
I love, and maybe it's just me. I'm 35 years old. I've been humbled many times in my life, and I've seen a lot, and I deal with a lot, of course, in my profession. So I don't mind like a piece of that humble pie every now and then because it helps keep me grounded.
Yeah.
So like I go back to like I told you, me and Miss Crystal. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but I could not believe like that how she just completely rolled it, whatever she did, and grabbed my arm and armbarred me, and I was just like, I was just like dumbfounded, like how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
And she was also very, very receptive, very kind, and told me, what she did and how did she manipulate me into that.
Yeah.
And now, some of that lesson that she gave me, man, I've used it now. The armbar is one of my favorite go-to moves to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really love the armbar. And then, even when you do armbars on your teammates, I've learned from the beginning when I first got it under control to not just get it and just fall on the ground.
Yeah.
And like, I like to try to be smooth with it. When you get it, I try to lay it, and I'm not going to just pull it like I'm in a competition or something.
Yeah. That's that reminds me of how I try to do it now. So like I feel like I teach kids. One of the things I notice with them too, and I notice with other people like adults too, is like when people offer an armbar from the mounted position, they automatically try to lay back down with it. Like they have the arm and they lay back down their back. So when people do that, it makes it a lot easier when somebody does to me to escape, because I understand like if my elbow is popped down past their hip line, they no longer have the armbar. So whenever I opt for the armbar from the mount position, I always go to that S mount position. I wrap my leg around or whatever type of position I want to have. But then I grab the wrist and I pull the wrist up.
Oh, okay.
I pull it up so that their elbow stays exposed when I lean back down, in order to execute the armbar, versus automatically go down, because I notice when a lot of people automatically go down, the other person is trying to pull their arm out at the same time, and especially if your hips are far away from their shoulder line and the side of their body, it's a lot easier for them to create that, to pop their elbow out,
Yeah.
So it, like you say, it's way better to like smoothly go into it versus trying to quickly get that submission,
Yeah, just be smooth. And that's what I've, like I said, and it's amazing how you start seeing things, and like I said, you start seeing things, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to be smooth. I'm not trying to you're not trying to kill your teammates.
No.
So it's like, all right, let's be smooth. Let's have a good roll. Every now and then you have, a guy come in there and he's a little bit out of control and stuff. And you see it, you're like, okay, the real new guys, you're like, oh man, here he goes.
Wow. Yeah.
Let me go and get him out of here real quick, go to somebody else.
Yeah. I truthfully, I do that. There's certain people who are more hyper aggressive, and they're focused on so much on beating me or whatever, and are and hate losing. And so me, I've lost in roles hundreds of thousands of times, I feel like if you got to, unless you're super, super in and a natural, by the time you're a brown belt, you probably lost at least 1,000 times. At least I have,
Wow.
And so I've been tapped out a lot of times before getting to where I'm at right now.
Did you compete in the world this past
No. Weekend? So I'm more so switching up in terms of the type of tournaments and competing I want to do.
Okay.
For me, especially since I put so much time and effort into it, I want to do more tournaments where I can actually get paid out for it, or a bit of my name a lot more. So there's a lot more avenues outside of IBJJF for people to be able to compete, especially for higher belts and especially for no-gi too as well in the United States. And so I'm trying to move more in that direction versus traveling around to compete for IBJJF right now.
Okay. Yeah. So you like ADCC and stuff like that?
Well, that's the eventual goal is to win ADCC trials and then to win ADCC eventually. So I want to put in that much time and effort in order to dedicate towards doing that. I have a long way to go. But shoot, all you can do is keep working.
Yeah, just keep training, right? Just keep training, I guess keep grinding, man. I commend you, man. You come across, like I said, I always like to say this, I'm still new to the craft and to the art. So I came in and I looked at you, and like I said, I first met you, you signed me up.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know you did jiu-jitsu. I thought you were just some, just the guy that worked there.
Yeah.
And I saw you put your gi on. I was like, okay. And then I saw you put the belt on. I was like, well, I don't even know what brown belt is because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And you quickly showed me what brown belt was, but still, like, wow, this is what this is. This is this art right here.
I never I don't like going around talking about myself or like going around talking about like what belt I am and anything like that. So it's literally like you kind of have to ask me, or you have to like see me wearing my gi to know what belt I am, I don't talk about myself that much at all. And if people like give me ask for advice about jiu-jitsu, I always try to phrase it where it's like it's jiu-jitsu but not me, like I do this and I do that, and I don't try to speak in that way, because it's not me or whatever. All these things come from something else, So I just say what jiu-jitsu is for jiu-jitsu, So like by explaining what a bicep slicer is, I'm not gonna be like, oh, hey, well, this is how I do a bicep slicer. And I really didn't know anybody else that teaches this way. But for me, I'll be like, well, this is how you do a bicep slicer, and tell them there's multiple different ways people do it, but this is the way I can show you, And I think what help people get better a lot faster is when instead of them seeing how they themselves can win a role or win a match, see how jiu-jitsu can win the role or win the match, You have to execute jiu-jitsu to win, not execute yourself, You're basically like a what do you call a conduit, or you're basically something that jiu-jitsu is being played out through.
Yes.
So the more you do jiu-jitsu itself, the more likelihood for you to win. You know what I mean? In my opinion, that's how I see it. So like now, even when I roll with like lower belts, there's certain lower belts I roll, they have very good jiu-jitsu. And so instead of getting hopped up on, oh, I'm a higher belt, I should be able to beat them, I'm more so like, oh, hey, how much jiu-jitsu do I actually know in order to be able to deal with the jiu-jitsu they know?
That's a great mindset to have, Dency. I like that.
Yeah.
I like. And how many years have you been studying jiu-jitsu again? I know I've asked you before,
but I originally started when I was like 11. I did it for a few months. And then I started back up again roughly around 14 until I was 16 years old. And then I did it off and on with Chris starting at 18. So, but if you condensed all the time I've actually put in, I would say no more than like 6-7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of like, either only doing it once a week or not doing it for a few months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when I was in college, I got consistent my first semester, and I got a girlfriend and fell off.
Yeah.
Which I learned. That's one of the biggest things I learned, though. And even though I wish I never learned that lesson, so to speak, but lessons will like pop up to you whether or not you want to learn them, is that I'm never going to like diverge in my path for like a girl,
Yeah, definitely don't do that. Yeah.
No.
I've learned that lesson before too. A long time before I met the lady I'm with now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you, man. See, I should have continued my football path, man, and I fell in love.
Yeah.
That ruined that.
Yeah.
And of course that fizzled off. It was like, man, I ruined the path that I was heading down.
Yeah.
Over a female. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I quickly learned so I would never do that. Definitely teach my son that lesson.
I learned the lesson of like just not letting people, period, like keep me from the path I know I need to be on. Now, at the same time, I also learned that there's also a way you deal with people dealing with that, So like, not saying that anybody around me would keep me from being on the path I want to be on, but like recently, I think I told you before we started the podcast, I'm about to start training more at 10th Planet, right? Awesome. And I just feel like I need to do that to help me up my level that much more, no E. And so what I did was I was just upfront with all my instructors about it and my bosses about it too. Like, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it, and tell them beforehand, versus trying to like be underhanded and like just slip away and not be communicative. Because I think one of the biggest things for me is keeping good relationships with people.
Absolutely.
and being good to other people too, especially people that have been good to me. Like Chris, like you said, Chris is a very good mentor. You know, he's helped me out a lot. You know, and that's a relationship that I would not want to end at all. Absolutely. And so it's like, it's the way you go about things that helps you to be able to sustain the relationships that you have.
So Chris has been your primary professor since you pretty much started?
No, since I was roughly around 18 years. When I was 18, that's when I met him.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So I met him at Georgia State back when he was a brown belt, right before he got his black belt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But and he was, so Chris used to come to Georgia State before he bought into the gym in Newnan, and he used to volunteer there twice a week on Monday and Wednesdays. And he would come there and teach us. Huh?
They did jiu-jitsu for the students and stuff?
Yes. So they had a jiu-jitsu club at the rec center.
Nice.
Yeah. One of the cool things about the club too is they were like pay for like the students' competition fees too.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but Chris would come out there, you know, and volunteer in T-shirts, and it was super cool that he did that. And he was doing it up until a little bit after he bought into the Newnan gym, because, you know, he was just spread out very thin, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, him, he's spread very thin. Like, he has multiple businesses. He still teaches. He's everywhere. You know what I mean?
I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until we talked a few weeks ago. He was like, hell, in the morning class, I only give like 25% of the roles that I still got to teach in the evening.
Yeah. And I was like, and he trains in the middle of the day too.
Really?
Yeah. So on Tuesday and Thursday, so he teaches 6 a.m. class over there, and then he'll go up to Travens and train at Travens at 11. Yeah. And then he'll teach the night class too.
Dude, that's freaking unbelievable, man. That's why he's so freaking good.
Yeah.
He puts a lot of time in on the mat.
Yeah, and off the mat too, like business wise too. Like, he's also running around throughout the day to all his different businesses as well. And so like, he's really is like super multitasking. That's why, like, when people ever like ask him about something, or they text him or they call him and he don't get back to them, I'm like, don't take it personal. Like, he probably has like 100 million other things on his mind at the same moment, you know? Yeah. And so it's not because of you, it's just because he's like, he has so much going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's I like having like men like him around me to look up to, because it kind of charges me to try to up my level of what I do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but the thing is, I've learned that instead of trying to be exactly the same, you have to find your own way in it too, like your own niche.
Find your own. Yeah.
I
look for how you grow. You know, I know 10th Planet, of course, through Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan and all that. That's how I've heard of them.
Yeah.
But you know, just based off a lot of the research I've been doing on that, they're really big on leg locks, and they're real big on no-gi training and stuff like that. So it's like they're legit, man. So
and the instructor there, Sean, he's good all around too in terms of like teaching wise. Like,
really,
I know he's known for teaching lay locks, but his like how he teaches every position is very phenomenal too.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's very in depth too as well, especially for his advanced classes. You know, yeah. So sometimes I've like, you know, I've been doing it for a while, you know, and you know how you have like levels to even knowledge. And so like, I be feeling sometimes like when he talks or he's like breaking down position, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I don't know anything anymore in comparison, you know, and I feel like it's cool to have that, you know. The same thing what happens with Chris too. Like, sometimes he'll like know so much in depth in dealing with things. Like, I'm like, oh crap, you know, but I like that too. So like when I was younger, especially when I was like 18, 19, I used to think I knew everything. And that's what a lot of people say at that age. Well, I legit did, but I find that I love knowing how much I don't know.
Yeah. That's what's been so addicting about this art, man. It's just what you don't know. And you like what you don't know about the human body. You're like, how the human body can be manipulated.
Yeah.
You know, something as simple as an arm drag, you know, and I'm sure it would, you know, if I try to arm drag you, definitely probably wouldn't work against someone as high level as you, but you get someone who comes in who doesn't have that experience, and you can arm drag them and take their back. It's like, oh, like this worked.
Yeah.
Like Tim's real good at that, man. Like he'll take your back like that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you do that so fast?
Yeah, and a lot of times when it comes to like trying to do it on like a higher belt, it's more so like the setup versus whether or not you actually be able to get it on them. Oh, and that be either speed or like tricking people into stuff.
So kind of bait them into it a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of it is very much, it's like fast-paced baiting, and tricking people into things. It's like the more you can trick people, like that's my game more so. It's to trick people. I like tricking people into stuff. Versus trying to like, what do you call it? Tricking and manipulating people into things is that's how I like to play jiu-jitsu versus like trying to like have a dot like just what do you call it, like muscle people into things or
try to just overpower them, like overpower.
Yeah.
I quickly learned. See, I was like that then too. When I first got in class, I was like, I'm just gonna try to use my strength.
Yeah.
And it worked on, like I said, a lot of other white belts, some of the other white belts, turn wrestling matches, but then when you go against guys, with that experience and that time on the mat, that shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
Crumble it up and throw it in the trash. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when I finally started kind of slowing down, and especially now when I roll now, I like to slow down. And if I go with a higher belt, I like to just work defense. I like to try to survive. I'm like, I'm gonna sit on my butt. I'm gonna try to, play my guard with you. And from there, man, I'm not gonna sit here and try to be so offensive. I want to try to survive.
Yeah.
I could go a whole 5-minute match without getting submitted, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Or in Tim's case, last 1 minute, I'm like, all right, I'm going somewhere now. Because Tim, when I would roll with Tim out, man, I would last maybe 15 seconds. It'll be
That reminds me of the first time I ever rolled with Chris. It was in the gi, and he was just sitting there, and I was like so confused. Like, he was just sitting there, and knees up, feet crossed, and I was like, "What am I on to do?" I had no clue. So I in to try to pass, and like my head is forward, and all of a sudden he's like lapel choking me, and all he says is, "You're leaning your head in too much." Yeah, but he looked bored as a mother too.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good at the butterfly guard. Yeah, like dude, like it was the other, like last week. I was like, how the hell do how do I get past this, man? Like I didn't know. And then I fell right into a damn triangle. But he always says like trying to triangle choke me is difficult because I don't really have. I got like a big neck and big shoulders, so it's kind of difficult. But hell, if he don't get the triangle, he'll turn it into an arm bar. It's like,
I think too. When it comes to Chris, one of the cool things, like I don't know if he plays this game universally, and he plays this game with me a lot. His defensive game is very, very nice. Like he's very tight. So like it's very hard. So the two positions very hard for me to get on him is mount and the back. And just because of how good he is at shutting down the getting your hooks in from the mat position, and how tight he is in his transitioning when you try to like mount him going to like the turtle position and then rewinding back to a open guard position. That's especially for no-gi. I've been mostly rolling with him no-gi now, and so I can't automatically think of the highlights from his gi game right off the rip, but his no-gi game is very hard to deal with him because of that, and he'll sit in his, what he calls, I think it's the panda position, where he's basically turned away from you, and you're behind him because you just try to take his back, but you're behind him, he's sitting up and he has his elbows in tight, and it's like you're trying to open him up, like open his elbows up and stuff, and it's very hard to get like hooks in and everything. And then he turns back in, and then he's facing you, and it's like you're starting back at ground zero.
Wow, it's amazing, man. Like I cannot wait to see where this journey takes me, man. I've set goals, and I set this goal, and no, it may not be realistic, but I want to try to be a black belt by the time I'm 45.
Oh, that's
I'm 35 now, so I I started at 34, so it's like, okay, let's see what this journey takes.
Yeah, I think that is very much reasonable, goal to have.
Yeah, just set your goal, because I can't never see me stopping.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. It's became when you get to a point where you're watching YouTube videos all day on
on it,
and you're like, I can't wait for tomorrow, so I get training and try to see if this works on some of the guys in class.
Like I say, it's a very good addition to be able to have,
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's done me right as far as my job purposes. And just me as a man, man. I can't wait to start my daughter in it. My daughter, she's big into Taekwondo, so she's getting striking and stuff under control and squared away. But I see what she does on those mats. Her friend McKinley Matt, she's in there right now.
Oh yeah,
friend, little
McKinley.
Yeah, she spends the night at my house all the time. So her and my daughter, they're getting here and they'll do jujitsu in the living room.
I think that's super cool when you have children, especially girls, doing that at a young age, know, because they grow, like, especially because their size, a lot of them, like, they become super technical. So you can learn so much from watching, like, girls roll, especially higher belt women rolling. Like, you can learn a crap ton from them, and they can do so much stuff that bigger people can't do too, because of the movement.
Crazy. I watched Abby Garcia rode this girl named Amanda Levy or something like that.
Yeah, Levy. Yeah.
And Amanda, I could not believe how Amanda like dominated her.
Yeah, she whooped her butt. Yeah.
Because Gabby's like this huge.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Dude, she's massive.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way this chick right here is fitting.
Yeah, and there's no way Gabby is all the way natural either. She'd be on some stuff,
Dude. He's like leaking testosterone. I was like, I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way.
She probably shot up on some testosterone before she went out there.
And then she's like vascular, like veins coming out of her head. Like, you should be rolling with the guys. Like, but Amanda took her back like that multiple times. I was like, how the hell did she do that? Yeah. But it's like you say, man, it's technique, man. She probably rolls with guys Monday through Friday at her gym. And
and she's an MMA fighter too.
Oh, she's an MMA fighter too?
Yeah, she's a pro MMA fighter. I think she fights for PFL. But I was so excited. Like, one of the cool things was too is like the reason, like, with her beating her was Gabby made in her contract that she didn't have to weigh in, even though they were like heavyweight women weight classes suck because there's a lot less of them. And so there's like heavyweight woman, like there's I think it's like 165 or 170 and up. So you have a chick that's like 285 and another chick that's like 170 in the same weight class.
So Gabby probably weighed freaking
a lot, like probably 260 or 240s. Yeah. So, but in her she was saying in her contract she didn't have to weigh in, So, they were like, why do we all have to weigh in and you not have to weigh in? And she was like, it's not in my contract. Don't worry about it, And then it was Amanda that called her out for it too. And then Amanda whooped her butt the next day.
Yeah. I thought she was going to put her out, man. Like, I watched it. I thought she was going to put her out. Like,
yeah, me too.
And like, I don't know how Gabby didn't go out.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, looked like she had it sunk in.
It's all those steroids in her neck.
They gave her a second win or something, man. So what happened? But and then Tex Johnson, he got body slammed by Orlando Sanchez. I was like, he got foul ball. I was like, I thought that was legal, and I learned that that's not legal. You can't do that.
It depends on like the tournament that you do. On that one, he probably thought that he could because like in ADCC you can slam.
So in ADCC you can slam like that.
Yeah, and he probably thought it was ADCC rules and didn't pay attention when he said that. When they say you can't slam, but like Tex really like can't say nothing because like I was at this one no-gi tournament done by the NFC, and it was his purple belt that was like putting it to Tex, and Tex like basically I think he like wrestled up and like ran the purple belt into the wall.
Really?
The concrete wall, yeah. real bad. And the coach, that dude's coach was going crazy. He was like, you need to DQ his ass. You know, he was going DQ, you know, because he literally did it on purpose too. And Tess was like, what, why? Like, what I do? What I do? You know?
What? What? No, man, like, so it's good. I'm starting to really watch these events and learn more. I can't wait till I do my first competition also, man. I can't wait. I plan on doing it October 23rd, but unfortunately I'm in the wedding. A buddy of mine invited me to be, not only did he invite me, but he asked me to be in. So I was like, damn. So I'm like, well, maybe I can go roll and try to make the wedding. Like, nah. Hey, I may be a little late for your wedding.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah, I had something important to do.
Yeah. But
it'd be like that though.
I have enough time this year after that one, and I'll try to hop in that competition. I want to experience it, man. I want to see what's it like. Even if I lose, man, I want to go out there. I want to see what's it like, what I've learned.
I feel like it's one of the coolest things to do, you know. It's like me, I've lost a lot of competition. I won, you know, but it is definitely one of the coolest things to do is to go out there and step out there and compete, you know. It's nervous. I don't get nervous as much. I'm kind of more, so I'm doing a tournament this weekend in South Carolina from Bots Grappling Promotions. I'm not super nervous about it, but my first match is a black belt. He's a Tom the Blast black belt too. I think
Tom the Blast. Yeah.
And I think they were telling me this morning that he runs like Tom the Blast's these programs or whatever affiliate down in Colombia or something like that, you know.
Wow.
So it should be a good challenge for me, even though the hardest like match I can actually do in that bracket is my teammate Ryan Aiken. He's the one I said won Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he smashes me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Consistently.
that's like the thought of that. Like I just can't, because I've rolled with it and I felt your power, and not just power. I felt your technique too. I just can't. I don't know how a human being can even beat you. So you're saying like people that could do that, it's like holy cow.
Yeah.
There's people more like.
Yeah, there's definitely levels, and like me, I know that, and so I'm trying my best to get on that next level. You know.
Yeah.
It's one thing like I had a podcast with my strength and conditioning coach Justin. And one thing he the idea he introduced to me was fear of exposure, you know.
Yeah.
And the fear of exposure is basically having a fear of people seeing how you really are, you know, how good you really are, and stepping out there, and not just for them to see it, but how you see you are, you know. And it's basically a reality check, and fearing having to be able to see that reality check, you know, and come to terms with it. And so me, I try not to let that fear of exposure keep me from doing things.
Absolutely. I like that.
The reality is reality. You know, if I do a tournament with him and I lose to him, that's the reality. I'm not as good as him, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, do I keep that from trying to make me as good as I can be in the future? No, yes. I don't let that do that. You know what I mean? And so I just try to build up my experience, and through that it helps you up your level. So a lot of people, they like get super nervous about competing for the first time and this, that, and the other. Nerves and excitement go along the same lines. I got that from Chris. And I feel like you have to have that, you know, and it helps you. But not only that, is you can't have that fear of exposure let you like take over you and keep you from doing things, you know?
Good point. Good point. All right, is it no gi this weekend or gi?
It'll be no gi.
No gi. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm not sure the next time we'll be doing a gi competition.
Okay. What do you weigh? What's your weight?
I flip between like 200 and 210.
Okay. All right. That's a good weight. I want to get down to about 200. I was telling Tim, I want to cut down to about that. I feel like that's just a good, because you still have your strength, and then you're a little bit more flexible and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like me, I would love, like, before I thought I want to be like around, like walk around 190, but I feel like I lose a lot of energy being low. You know, Like me, like one of the people that I discovered who I like listening to and watching is Matt Frazier.
Yes.
The CrossFit champion. And one of the cool thing he says is that he says he likes to go into competition with body fat on him.
Yeah.
It helps him have energy for that long term versus guys who are super low body fat, and then the cardio is a lot worse, you know. And I think the trick for me this weekend is giving myself time to rest just to make sure my conditioning is on point for Saturday. You know, usually I go hard, and then Saturday I'm dead. You know, and then Sunday I'm like, oh hey, a little bit better. You know, But now I'm like, okay, well I have to get my body in the best condition for Saturday. You know, and reserve for that. You know.
Do you run? Do you do a lot of cardio, like running and stuff like that, or?
So I used to do a ton of running. And then Justin had us do a ton of running until his ankle got hurt. But I actually liked the fact that his ankle got not that I like, you know, wish he got hurt or anything, but because his ankle got hurt, we stopped running and did a lot more rowing. And you know, the ski machine. Yeah. So we did a lot of work rowing and ski machine, and it's a lot better on my ankles. So both my ankles blow up a lot in terms of like getting inflamed and everything. Like I probably had like minor tears in them from being caught in like heel hooks and ankle locks and stuff.
Oh my God.
So we ran yesterday for the first time. We did 15 calorie sprint on the treadmill, and then we did 15 calorie sprint on the rower, and we did 5 sets of that. And I think my time was like 9 minutes on it. But so afterwards my ankles like was hurting again. Yeah. Oh, wow. So like they have to get used to running again. But I used to like growing up, because I used to be a fat kid and I lost a lot of weight just by running.
Wow.
Yeah. But I love rowing, assault bike, and ski way more than running now because my ankles.
Yeah. So I've been trying to figure out a good workout regimen, because I used to always train like a bodybuilder. I used to do bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. So I only knew how to work out powerlifting, football, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But in jiu-jitsu, what I've learned is that doesn't really benefit me so much. It's, you know, you can have a 400-pound bench press, but it don't matter if somebody puts arm on. What are you going to do? Like, pick them up? They got
swing them around. Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen. So I was like, well, maybe CrossFit would be better.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, some of the CrossFit workouts, I'm like, well, hell, that's a little kind of too taxing on the body. Yeah. So trying to find that good median somewhere.
I would suggest for you to talk to, if you can, like test Justin on like the system in which he likes to utilize, because he has a background in CrossFit, right?
Okay.
But I even think that Matt Frazier and him have more of a like the similar mindset than him and both of them and a lot of CrossFitters. But his ideology dealing with exercise has changed over the years, you know, to keep he feel like it helps transition him for exercise to be more beneficial mentally and physically versus like you're always like in a hurt state. You know, he was saying like when he did CrossFit, he was always like, you know, in that hurt state when he wasn't training, but then when he was training, it's like, but when you're not training, everything hurts. Which was happening to me too before I started training with him. And so he the system he tries to utilize, I think, would help out a lot for a lot of jiu-jitsu people, you know.
Man, like I have to find him, man, reach out to him, man. Does he write programs and stuff?
He does for me and him. I would just ask him, you know, in terms of like advice and stuff. And then see what you can do with him. I'm hoping that he doesn't. So he started doing like seminars too. Not necessarily doing like exercising in the seminar. He did offer people to train with us after the seminar, but I hope he does another one soon. I'm gonna try to get people to go to it. To be able to learn from him, you know. He hasn't gotten like the most numbers from it, but I feel like the more he does it, the more people are gonna flock to him. And I feel like a lot of jiu-jitsu people should flock to him, especially if they want to up their performance and their mindset going into performance. You know?
Absolutely. I like that, man. I like that, man. I like that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach out to him, man.
Yeah. What do you say your opinion in terms of like for like police officers, what like good training for them to do throughout the week?
What I did, man, like before jiu-jitsu or just a normal workout regimen?
Currently after doing jiu-jitsu.
All right. Well, let's say I'm gonna try to like put it. All right, what I do the 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu class. So normally I do that, and I'm on night shift currently right now, and I do 12 hours. I do my 12 hours. I go straight to jiu-jitsu in the morning at 6 a.m. because I get off at 6 a.m. So I train, and then I go to sleep. And then once I go to sleep, I wake up around 11:30, 12, somewhere around there. I normally go to the gym and I used to go to the gym and just hammer out the weights, do a straight bodybuilding type workout. But now I'm starting to implement more of the rowing machine, the assault running, like the treadmills, like at an angle. Yeah. That one, I really like that. So I'm really trying to implement kind of CrossFit style workouts into the regimen or whatnot per se. And I normally do that if I work the weekend. We work every other weekend. So if I'm on for the weekend, I train 6 days a week. If I am off, if I face my short week, which we only work 2 days, I'll train Wednesday, Thursday, and then I may take Saturday, Sunday off from the gym or whatnot.
You said I think you told me before you have your own business too. Is that right?
Yeah, Slap Tactical apparel business and stuff like that. I have a pretty creative mind, so I like coming up like these crazy designs. I'm obsessed with like aliens and stuff, man. So I've always been like ET and all that stuff, man.
You ever heard of Bob Lazar?
Oh yeah. I got a Bob Lazar book, and I seen the documentaries on him and everything, man. Yeah.
Joe Rogan had him on before too.
Yeah.
Do you believe in a lot of what he talked about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely do, man. I get made fun of a lot at work when I start talking. They don't like to get me started because I go on and on when it comes to the extraterrestrial and the life outside of Earth. Because I'm thinking about it like this. I tell folks we would be completely naive if we believe that we're the only ones out here in the entire galaxy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like we will be completely naive. And like the Roswell crash in, was that 1947? The Roswell crash accident, if I'm not mistaken. 2 spaceships crashed or whatnot. One was found, I think, 3 or 4 years later. The one they did find immediately, it had an alien in it.
Yeah.
And the alien told him that, hey, he shared information. He said, hey, we're 50,000 years ahead of y'all. Basically information technology wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, and some of the images and videos they released last year or earlier this year, the Tic Tac, the flying Tic Tac, all that. They can't keep up with it. It's flying at these super speeds. It makes sense if they're ahead of us.
Yeah, that one far.
Years ahead of us. I mean, of course they're gonna have technology that we never discovered yet. Or probably would never discover.
So, I mean, it reminded me too. I think I forget which country. I don't know if it was the United States or not, but they like came out with an article. I think it was like right after or right before like everything started shutting down with COVID, where it was like, the government admits that of alien life forms, like we've been in contact with alien life forms. Like they came out with an article and they was like, oh, everything's shutting down because of COVID. So it's almost like the whole everything with COVID like washed over, whether they just making that huge statement that, oh, we admit that there are aliens and we make contact with them,
they got to do something to take people's minds off of it, man. They're like, well, we got to take their minds off of it, but how can we do it?
Yeah, but they be like, oh, we at least said it. You can't say that we never said it. I mean, it exists, Y'all just weren't paying attention.
It's in the fine print on the news.
Yeah,
it's in the fine. You got to read you got to use glasses to read the Bible. We discovered aliens. Well, we put it on TV and we admitted it.
Yeah,
it's the fine print. You got to read it.
Yeah,
but I'm all about that, man. Like I believe in it. Hell, if we get real deep, hell, I believe in the ghost and all. I believe in ghosts and all that stuff too. We're just, I mean, it's spirits, man, entities, man. I mean, I've been in houses, man, where people, I'm a police officer. I see a lot of death.
Yeah.
you know, when you go in houses where evil crimes may have been committed, someone may have been murdered, you could feel it. You could feel
there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know,
I do too. I think the problem is it's like almost like we live in a culture of disbelief.
Yes.
And like even horror movies and stuff like that, like everything in it is supposed to be fake. Even if they said this is based off a true story, like the haunting in Connecticut, like no matter what, people are like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be fake. You know, some scientists say it's fake. You know what I mean? Me, I grew up actually in around a lot of like traditional like West African spiritual systems. And not only that, but like some from like Haiti and Brazil, like Candomblé and everything. So I've seen a lot of things, you know, especially spiritual wise. So it kind of like confirmed my belief in a lot of things. I don't see it the exact same way as a lot of other people that I grew up around. But I do believe that there is spirits, and like that when you die, it's not the end, you know?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And so I believe that you have to like watch, like I even try to watch out in terms of like my energy and how my energy is directed towards other people, but then you also have to watch out in terms of what type of energy and spirit might be around you too, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You
never know what you could damn bring, you know, what are attached to you, and you bring out. So, you always try to be respectful and like you just said, man, just watch the type of energy that's around you, and the type of energy that you put out as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, you never know what you can bring or what can attach yourself to, that you can bring to your home.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really on that, because especially in my profession, man, like, you know, I always try to watch, especially when you get around situations like that, and you might be at scenes, and I've seen some brutal deaths and stuff, man. So you see stuff like that, or murders or suicides, like whoa. So you always try to like be careful, like what you do and what you say and what's in the house. Try to make sure you take the necessary precautions to not let any of that stuff attach itself to you and your home.
Yeah, I agree with you. I haven't been in I've seen, it wasn't the first step I'd ever seen, but like I have a god brother I grew up with. Known him like basically ever since he was born, and he passed away over the summer. He got hit by a car walking into work. And I saw his body at the funeral home, but it was like afterwards, I was like seeing him everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And it was weird because I didn't know, like, it didn't feel like I was just, it'd be random. It didn't even feel like it was just me thinking of him or me conjuring up. It felt like it was like legit him. And that's the first time I ever really felt that way, you know? But then it wasn't just me that was on through that. It was other people in my family and his family that would see him, and we all see him the same way too, you know? And so for me, that what partly like even confirmed it that much more, because like even seeing his body, it didn't feel like he was in there, you know?
Yeah.
Like who he wasn't in there. It felt like he was somewhere else, you know? And because of that, it kind of confirmed that he was not, like, that wasn't the end of him, you know? And one of the things that it really messed with me, and I think my dad always taught to us about like purpose and destiny and everything like that growing up. And I think the first thing that messed with me was I was like, how can he die so young? And, you know, I felt like he had so much more that he can do within his life and his purpose and everything like that. I think that sometimes, especially when people die young, you also have to see how much purpose they have within the lifetime that they did have, you know, and how much impact they have and how good they were to the people that was around them, and how great of a destiny they still had, even if, you know, they didn't go on living until they were old age, you know. Like I feel like he had great purpose and great destiny, even if he passed away early, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I lost a really good friend of mine earlier this year too. He came to the gym a few times and trained too, man. Yeah, he died in a car accident. He used to work with. We were partners and everything. He died in a car accident way to his other job. Yeah, man. And that bothered me a lot, because we were really freaking close, man. And those people, I've lost a lot of people in life, and but losing him really, really affected me, because I was like, damn, man. And And even like you said, when you saw them, when you see their bodies in caskets, you're like, okay, that's a body there, but that's not him. He's not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel his energy and his spirit is elsewhere, but that right there, that's a temporary little housing area right there. You know?
Yeah.
For what I know, he's sitting there looking at me next to me, slapping the back of the head, saying some crazy shit like he used to always say to me, or whatnot when he was here.
Yeah.
So I left a video up on my Instagram page of me and him actually rolling. Mm-hmm. This was I think last year, the year before, because we were always talking about wanting to do jiu-jitsu together.
Yeah.
He started before I did.
Yeah.
I had surgery, so I was delayed, but he started going. But we would sit there and roll, and I guess you could say wrestle.
Yeah.
We wouldn't roll, we would wrestle. Yeah. I would freaking maul him, dude. I would maul him. Yeah. And I didn't know nothing like what I know now. So I always every now and then, I talk. I feel like I talk to him like, hey man, baby, glad you ain't here no more. I'll be fucking choking your ass out. But I told myself I'm gonna dedicate my first competition to him and his, to his family, because we were supposed to do it together. When he was here, he was like, man, we're gonna do a jiu-jitsu tournament together. Yeah. His life was cut short.
Yeah. I think that's that reminds me too of partly why there's certain moves that I'm making. Because I think it hit me that much more because I feel like when you're younger, my mom talks about it, where it's like you almost have this perception that you're invincible, that you're going to live forever. And one of the dudes, I listened to a ton of Joe Rogan podcasts, and one of the dudes that came onto his podcast said that I forget I don't know what country it is, but it's this one country, and these people are Buddhists, but they have this requirement that everybody thinks about death every day. Wow. But they're also known as the happiest country per capita.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's like, even though it's almost like because they think about death so much, they think about what they can do to help make their lives and other people's lives that much better leading up to it, so that they have a good memory before they pass away, and that's that part of the reason why I even wanted to do the podcast was so I can learn and experience life in other people's lives and experiences as much as possible, and enjoy that process. It's also a big challenge for me because I grew up, I was dyslexic. I had problems talking to other people and everything, and because of my speech impediment and stuff. So it helps me develop my ability to converse with other people too.
Oh, sweet, man. Sweet, man.
But I'm like, my god brother, he had a ton of things he wanted to do in life. He did a lot of things leading up to his passing, but because of the things he wasn't able to do, I'm like, hey, well, it's a charge for me to do things that I want to do and not sit back and be nervous and have that fear of exposure keep me from doing things,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I like that, man. I like that. That's a good mindset to have, brother. Yeah. You're gonna be successful too, man. You got it's a brightness to you, bro, and you got a lot of potential, man. I look forward to continuing to get to know more about you and seeing you just to grow, man. I can't wait to even whenever we get together, man, I can learn something from you on the mats, man.
Yeah.
We get together, we can do some rolling. You can show me some stuff, man. Show me how to utilize my sides as long as it takes.
I know one big thing that I would like to learn is I need to dip back into firearms and learn more.
Oh yeah, Oh, we can make that happen.
And you say you were coming from hunting, I never hunted growing up, and that's one thing that I wish I knew how to do by now.
Man, man. Anytime this season you want to go, if you're down on in the Newnan area, I'll take you out. We'll plan. I'll take you out in the woods, and even if you don't shoot nothing, I'll take you just so you can experience
the season.
I'm sorry.
How long is the season?
Deer season ends in early January, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I gotta check the schedules. It's somewhere around there, either late December, somewhere around there. So I know duck season starts back in January because I shoot ducks. I do it all.
I should be able to do something. Definitely in November.
That'd be perfect because the weather would be colder too. I like getting in the woods colder. I hate when I just hit the button and it's hot. So I'm in there a little sweaty. Like, man, I'm sweating. Heaters all around me, man. It's rough, man. But that's a big passion of mine, man. I love hunting, man.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've always wanted to do it. I grew up doing gardening and farming.
Oh, that's good too, man.
Yeah. My first jobs, a lot of it was just doing that.
That's a lost art, man. A lot of people don't know anything about that stuff, man.
Yeah, which I think is bad because, like, I mean, even though now it seems like I learned this from my dad in terms of not being comfortable, you know, and always something may happen, you know what I mean? You know, for me, I don't wish anything to happen, but like, it's always good to be able to know things, to be able to be as sustainable as possible, you know?
Absolutely.
So that's why, like, I dived so much into like gardening and farming, because I was like, no matter what, at least I know how to like produce my own food, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many kids nowadays that don't even know where their food comes from, which is bad. You know, you have to know where it comes from. It's good to be able to defend yourself.
Yep.
You know, learn how to provide for yourself off the land, in my opinion. Yep. And the last thing is like know how to like have like shelter too, like how to build your own shelter and everything like that.
Absolutely,
you know, that's sustainable living, you know. And one of my biggest goals actually is to eventually have my own like homestead.
Oh, that'd be cool, man. Yeah,
completely off the grid too.
Yeah, off the grid. Yeah. I'm looking to buy some land now, man. I'm looking at land, and I want to try to start developing something like that, little hunting area. I put a decent trailer on the property or whatnot.
Yeah.
Fix it up to where it could be, you know what I mean, a little escape. You know what I mean? A retreat. I don't think my wife would ever go, but hell, I go there all the time.
I feel you.
I go woods and hunt, and hell, I went pig hunting last week and today, and hell, I shoot doves and quail and duck. Get ready for duck season next month. So, you know, just being able to learn how to survive and learn how to harvest game and keep that freezer stock, because you never know when stuff may go bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like I way rather do that than to buy meat from the store anyway. And you heard of like carnivore diet before?
Yeah. I was curious to know. I actually wanted to research that more to see like would that be healthy for the human body?
I know
protein intake going in your body.
So there's this one of the guys that are leading in terms of researching this. His name is Paul Saladino. Have you heard that name before?
That sounds familiar. Saladino. That sounds familiar.
He's he does a lot in terms of studying like nutrition and like what foods is like best for the body. And one of the things that struck a nerve in me, what he said was, he was like, the thing about plants is a lot of plants, you know, they create systems and chemicals, right, actively mutate themselves to keep humans from being able to consume them. Other animals don't do that, you know. And so you're eating something where you're trying to constantly figure out ways to keep yourself from being poisoned by eating them, you know, versus eating something that doesn't do that, you know. And so he said the other issue too was, you know, back when they were creating like the food web, the food chain, and different things like that, they were then paid in order to formulate them a certain way to make red meat look bad, you know, more than plants. Especially the same thing in terms of how they were talking about like, you know, high fat versus sugar and everything like that too. And so he talks about how like the benefits of eating red meat, but in a more natural sense, you know, especially hunted meat, and then also eating more of the organ meat too, like the liver and the heart, and how beneficial those are, you know. So he says that what you should do, like one of the things that he talks to people about is only on a restricted diet, dealing with the carnivore diet, but not like long term. But what you do is you go on the carnivore diet, and it's basically it cuts off a ton of like plant, like everything plant wise. Then you slowly reintroduce things into your diet, but then in that way you'd be able to see things that your body is more so sensitive to, you know. And then cut those things out, you know, and then keep things that your body isn't as sensitive to, you know.
That would make you lean to a carnivore diet, I guarantee.
Yeah, and he says more of a natural diet because like a lot of our ancestors, no matter where, you know, they relied a lot off of meat. You know, hunting, you know what I mean? And so versus like, you know, mostly a plant-based diet.
They wasn't eating no damn salads back in the
day.
No salads with no ranch and nothing on there.
No. especially like you train as much. Like both of us, we train a good amount. We can't survive off of a salad. Like our body's like, what the hell is this?
Man, I would shrivel up. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Man. Nah. Yeah. You have to put like good lean meat. I mean, you're right. Good lean meats in your body, man, and our bodies have to take that. We have to have it. To be able to function, to keep our energies, keep our energy somewhat high. Yeah. And all that, man.
Yeah.
I'm really big on watching my carb intake too. Man. Yeah. I'm like try to watch what kind of carbs I put in my body and stuff as well.
I agree. I believe with carbs, it's like I feel you have to put in energy based off of how much energy you're giving out. So I feel like one of the biggest issues is people put in more energy than the energy they're giving out on a daily basis. So like me, I believe it's more justifiable for me to put in more carbs than a person that doesn't train as much, because they don't utilize as much energy, they don't need that much of like that energy source. So if you don't need that much and you're still consuming that much, your body just want to store it, and then you start having issues.
Yes. And what, you roll twice a day, or you roll and then you work out?
It depends. Sometimes I roll twice a day. Sometimes I do once. Sometimes I train 2. It depends on how I'm feeling in the day of the week.
Oh, okay.
So like yesterday, I did strength and conditioning. We did strength and conditioning roughly around an hour, and then I did class right afterwards. So I trained roughly around 3 hours in total, and then I didn't do anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I bet you were craving a good porterhouse when you got done with all that.
Yeah.
Give me the biggest damn porterhouse you can give me. Yeah. You don't need a fork and a knife. Just grab with your hand.
Yeah. And that actually helps me too. Like eating protein in the middle of the day versus carbs. So what I notice is when I eat carbs in the middle of the day, I have like this energy dump, and I feel like I'm about to fall asleep. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm up since like 4 a.m. And then by the time like I train 3 hours afterwards, I eat some carbs. I'm like, and so I try to eat carbs at night if I can.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, man. You ever done like intermittent fasting too?
Yes, I have. I've done that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did that pretty much all last year. Whenever I want to trim weight, cut weight, that's normally what I do. I eat once a day. It's easier for me to do it on night shift because, now I do jiu-jitsu right after class, after I get off work. So it'll probably be a lot more difficult now because after I do jiu-jitsu, I'm hungry. I'm like, man, I'm ready. I'm sure calories, especially when Professor Chris is teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, he likes to push people.
Oh yeah. So it's like I'm like hungry. So I need to like try to get my body to calm down so I can go to sleep or whatnot.
Yeah, I feel you.
But like I told you, I want to get down to about 200, 210. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to find the right diet that's going to fit right for me to do. The easiest diet for me to do is intermittent fast. Yeah. I eat once a day. I eat a big steak and a potato. Yeah. And that'll hold me off.
Oh, wow.
But the problem is, like you said, you start burning so many, like the gym was one thing, but now you throw jiu-jitsu in it. It's a lot more harder now.
Yeah.
And then I'm class like, well, I'm like, hell, I might need to go buy some peanuts from the store or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
Because I don't want to be a nail all day.
I know me. My stomach will tell me. It'll start growling.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. But just try to intermittent fasting was my go-to, man.
Yeah.
For many.
Well, I have to start getting ready to have to teach really soon.
All right, yeah, man. No problem.
I hope you enjoy it. I appreciate having you on.
Man, anytime, man. You let me know anytime, man. And hopefully we can get together and get a workout in and do more stuff on the mats as well, man.
I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah. And I get you out here to the range, we'll shoot some guns and we'll hunt too also.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Hold it down, man. Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you for being on it. I appreciate it a lot. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. See y'all later.
All right, see you guys.
Later, sir.